Now, energy is a huge problem. We're all addicted to this oil. And looking at this Gulf oil, it's time for change. And I've known for quite a while that we have enormous technology out there. And a lot of this can be done at home. You can set up new businesses. I watched this documentary last night called Fuel. It was the most inspirational documentary I've seen in a long time. And a lot of it is dealing with energy. And one thing that they were bringing up is algae. And algae multiplies extremely fast. And apparently, it lives off poison and toxins. You know, it takes everything that's bad in the air and it basically feeds it. And a lot of this in the Gulf oil can be cleaned. I wouldn't live in the idea that none of this can be solved, but we have to kind of wake up to the idea that in the Gulf, the way you earn your living is the way you're destroying yourselves. Katrina was a hurricane level 1 when it went through Florida, and only when it went through the Gulf did it turn into a Hurricane 5. And there's so much industry, oil industry going on there, that it's heating up the water. So your storms are going to get a lot bigger just because of how you're um, earning your living. And apparently, there in Louisiana, there's so much oil production going on there that this film was showing all of the hot spots. The cancer rate is so friggin' high in that area, and you're doing a lot of complaining, to government. Government doesn't listen because everybody's making a living. And I'm noticing a lot of people, in the Gulf now that are working in the industry, although you see that your industry is just destroying your own way of life, you still want to drill. It's somewhat insanity that you still want to earn your own living even though it's cutting your own throat. And I'm suggesting everybody that is making a living off of oil in the Gulf, it's time to start a new income. It's time to change the way you earn your living. And this algae is one good way of doing it. Setting up algae farms to eat up all of that toxin. What you're going to want is everybody's toxic waste. So people will pay a lot of money to get rid of their toxic waste, and you can make a pretty good income. Form a cooperative with other people that want to, that need to change their way of life, and just do a little bit of research and start new forms of energy. The government appears to want to control clean energy. And if you give control to governments, trust me, they're going to suppress any good idea. And they will, they will start businesses with a greed mentality. But if you looked at the business structure video that I did, and started up as cooperatives, don't be focused on the profits. Be focused on doing something that you love doing. And if you love earning a living through creating energy, create clean energy. There is such a demand for it. And, even our cars can easily be changed to consume new forms of energy. Even mechanics. Um, there's so much technology out there for free energy that changing our current vehicles into new systems, there's a better demand for that. But you have to do a little bit of research. You have to find out what types of technology is out there to be able to change cars to run with more clean fuel. But mechanics, for one, a lot of them are getting really sick just being mechanics because of all of the toxins involved in fixing the cars. But if you get involved, if you're mechanical and you love doing this type of work, then transforming our current cars into new energy cars um, will be a healthier way for you to work on these vehicles because you won't be working with that much toxic waste. So there's so much available to us. It's not hopeless. There's going to be such a need to clean that air up that, form a new business that cleans that air. Form new securities that protect your coast. You have a coast guard, but they're being controlled by government. They're being controlled by big corporations. But you can set up a business that controls your communities. Get your communities, if we're starting new businesses and they're starting off as nonprofits, then part of your nonprofit can go into funding the security that keeps greedy people away. There is a way of cleaning up all of that ocean. We need to refocus on the fisheries and clean that mess up. I personally wouldn't eat fish. Well, I don't eat fish anyways, but even if I did eat fish, today's the day that I would stop eating any type of fish. Just simply because I know that there's so much toxin in any fish that's being sold. So if I know for a fact that there's new businesses out there that are making sure all of that toxin is out, um, these government agencies that are keeping things safe. I made a video on, they're testing fish to make sure it's safe by smelling it. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to trust that, but I will trust somebody that is getting involved in a new way of creating our societies. And we do need to start trusting in something different. But who I'm going to trust is somebody that's not going to be involved in the greed. And whoever you're protecting, are you protecting your communities that aren't involved in a greed mentality? Um, so we need to start building some trust and start doing things a lot better. A lot of these agencies that are out there to protect, I've seen them firsthand in the factories that I went with that came in to see if our products were safe, and none of the paperwork was done properly. They all knew it. Nothing was done right, and yet they passed every friggin' test. So chances are, if it's a government-sponsored agency, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. At the same time, I'm seeing people that are so desperate to earn a living that if they can get any form of safe testing done on it, they don't really care whether it's safe. They just want, somebody to manipulate you into believing that it's safe. So there is a demand for safety, and it's got to be done in a way that we can trust you. So that I'll leave that up to you to decide, but anybody that's involved in that, use your own intuition. Use what would keep you safe, and start doing that. Start forming your own businesses, because there's so much opportunity right now for change. If we focus on the problems, we will never unfold the solutions. So identify the problem and just start believing in self and saying, okay, what can I do about this to be the solution? We just need to clean everything up. And there's a huge demand. There's huge profits in all of this, but it's got to be a shared profit. Not this, wealthy guy and somebody doing the labor for minimum wage. It's got to be shared. And when I see cooperatives and community, then that's something that I would purchase. And I'm pretty sure everybody else would want to purchase that too. So I encourage anybody that's in the oil industry to watch that film, the documentary Fuel. There's a lot of really good suggestions out there on clean energy. There's lots of potential. It doesn't need all that much funding. Form your cooperatives. Do not get government involved in clean energy. I'm sure it's just a way to manipulate it and get that greed involved in it. So let's be the change and be in control of our own destiny with no control from this new world order. Peace out.